What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fitness Oracle. Today we have a very um, special guest, Heather Klassen from Heather's Reiki. And we go into some really deep topics when it comes to Reiki and yoga and meditation and being in a positive space, positive mindset. We also go into so many other topics when it comes to toxic relationships, what to do, how to get out of it, some tools that she used when she was in a toxic relationship and how she got out of it, the tips and tricks that she used. She's all bears and bones with it and no hiding anything. She was a great guest. I really hope I can bring her on again to do another one because there's just other stuff that I wanted to talk about. Just time wasn't really on our side. But we also go into some really great stuff when it came to brain food, um, coffee, and how you I can add specific mushrooms to and spores to coffee to help improve your mindset and everything. It's just so jam packed with so many golden gems. I'm sure you guys are going to get something really great out of this very courageous and very inspirational lady who's been through so much in her life and just keeps going. I mean, it's just her story alone is greatly inspirational. Anyways, as usual, if you like what we're doing here at the Fitness Oracle and at VO Fitness, please subscribe to our channel. Just hit the subscription below if you want to be notified when there's a new podcast being released and you don't know when. Just hit the notification button beside. And as usual, if you guys do know of anybody that is suffering from any mental health issue, the greatest gift that you can give them is to share. If you think that this can help them, if you think that they are in a toxic relationship and this person doesn't know how to get out of it, please share this episode with them. It might help them see the light to get out and what to do to help them stay the course and be better. So that's it. So again, if you like what we're doing here with VO Fitness and the Fitness Oracle, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and most importantly, please share with people who you think will benefit from this. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Where there's different hand placements throughout the body, and it helps clear and move energies in the body. Helps your body to basically, we're not really doing anything. I feel we're just the conduit, just finding ways to kind of clear people's own energy and let their bodies naturally heal themselves. Ultimately, ended up leaving my husband after about 20 years. And I'm lucky to be alive right now. It was very, he tried to strangle me and I somehow escaped, but I did not leave the house until about 6 months later because I was probably reduced to a puddle at that point, and my confidence was really, really bad, in bad shape. And so that's where the yoga came in and led me to everything else. And my life is totally transformed. Fuel up on dates and apples and things like that, and have chocolate just before a test. And I found the first test I did that, my brain was on fire, and I turned it into a game. So I was doing practice tests online and just turning it into a video game, not just reading them.
Welcome to the Fitness Oracle, where we have real conversations with real people just like you, with real stories just like yours. And this is one of their stories. I am your host, John Katsavos. My guest today is Heather Klassen from Heather's Reiki. She loves everything that has to do with wellness. She is a yogi and Reiki master, a poet, massage student, and a psychic medium. Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, John. This is a real pleasure to be here.
So how is Kingsville, Ontario? Are you guys opening up?
Things have been closed down for quite a while. I just did get news today, though, that we will be opening up our spa in the next 2 weeks. I think the 12th of June or that week, anyway, the middle of June. So, yeah, I know the spa where I work at it's totally been renovated. It was open in January. So we did work maybe a week in December. But the grounds are fully finished. There's with the pool and steam rooms and everything is ready to go. So yeah, so it's super exciting.
That's awesome. That's it's really nice to hear that everything's starting to open up. How have you been holding up over the last 8 months?
I've actually been doing really well. I think the fact that wellness is kind of my thing. This is really me and my element, just doing what I've been doing for years to cope with things. And to me, actually staying home is kind of enjoyable for me. I do really miss connections and going out, but yeah, I'm really, that's the big one. Yeah, I'm finding different ways to communicate and kind of delving deeper into like writing. I started writing poetry this year and started writing a book, and yeah, so taking the time to work on myself. So that's been really amazing.
That's really good. Like, I got a ton of questions for you because ever since 2008, 2009, when I really started to get into the whole natural wellness space, I have been introduced to Reiki, but I haven't had it done on me. And so what is Reiki?
It's hard to describe really unless you have or experience it, I guess. But it's really similar to massage. Only some people are confused and seem to think that we don't touch the body, but it's very similar to massage, but where there's different hand placements throughout the body, and it helps clear and move energies in the body. Helps your body to basically, we're not really doing anything. I feel we're just the conduit, just finding ways to kind of clear people's own energy and let their bodies naturally heal themselves, ultimately. And but it does work with the parasympathetic nervous system to help the body slow down and get out of fight or flight mode and relax into rest and digest, which is the secret to our body's healing.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is. I keep saying that one of the biggest concepts that personal trainers and sales reps for personal trainers get wrong is the 80-20 rule, that 80% is nutrition, or 80% is exercise, 20% is nutrition. They actually miss the mark on one of them, which is rest and recovery. Do you think that this is more like moving energy throughout blocks that people have in their lives?
Absolutely, 100%. Right. Yeah, but moving blocks within the body, like in massage, we move the energy or help the energy move, and with the Reiki, we can clear those blocks and open up even different techniques too, where I've learned about just clearing meridians too. Was something else called emotion code and access consciousness. We're just using the meridians in the body and just clearing that energy as well. Yeah, it's really fascinating. I think when you asked me a question and you asked me what the most kind of pivotal aha moment for me was, and I think it was the day I learned Reiki too. It changed everything, and how I look at healing, and of course healing yourself, where it starts and just shifting the whole paradigm. But as far as working out, it's interesting because I think I was overweight. I was really unhappy when I hit about 40. And so I was working out until I was blue in the face, going to the gym and doing everything the trainer told me to. And I was bulking up, but I was not losing any weight. And for me, it wasn't until I started doing yoga, that I started to actually feel my feelings and slow down and process and clear those blocks. And that's when I was able to lose 40 pounds by myself, just doing yoga and listening to my body.
Wow. We are going to touch up on the yoga because I've had multiple other guests that have had quite interesting experiences with yoga. But what got you into the practice of Reiki?
It's funny because I thought about that this week, and it was the yoga I got into to help me deal with leaving a toxic marriage and going through divorce. But I think it was the Reiki that really just empowered me to just work on myself and realizing that I could help so many people along the way. And so starting that, I started volunteering with my teacher. We started volunteering at the hospital through a program called Transition to Betterness. And that was just magical, being able to help people that were so sick. And it's funny because I thought it would be scary. I thought it would be something I didn't want to do. I'd been to hospice training after my dad was in the hospital, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. But just being in the hospital and just giving treatments and talking to the families and helping them relax was very, very, very nurturing, I guess. Yeah. So it filled my cup.
That's awesome. You did mention something about clearing meridians. So does Reiki actually tie in with traditional Chinese medicine? Because that is something that I am familiar with.
Okay. Well, yes, because you do. Is it the Tai Chi? Sorry, that you do?
I practice the it's like acupressure. I was learning more on the acupressure, like understanding the meridians and trying to test certain spots on either wrist, ankle, or hand or foot to see, where is the blockage and what's weak and what's not. And I would introduce it through muscle testing as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's from Japan originally, and this is goes back ancient history, and it was actually very. There was a man, Isui. What is his name? Isui Reiki was his name, and Macau Isui, and it's Isui Reiki that we teach. But he kind of is like the father of Reiki, and he's the one that developed it. And it was actually very prestigious at the time. Only people with a lot of money, the courses and treatments were very expensive. So it was more, it wasn't at all mainstream like it is now. So, yeah. So it's really cool that now we can learn it, but share it with so many people and, help people just heal themselves. And there's so many ways you can go about it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So
your yoga practice now, what initially got you into yoga? Because like I said before, I had two other guests that came on the show, and they had very traumatic experiences in their lives, and yoga and meditation actually saved their lives, literally saved their lives. So I'd like to get your story on the impact of yoga in your life.
I guess I had been, like I said, going through probably a bit of a midlife crisis when I hit 40, and I was very miserable. And I figured there was a lot more than just taking care of the kids and going to work every day. There was something deeper and meaningful I needed to do. So I started going to yoga, and it started healing my body. I was for the first time, really just putting myself first, which I found is not selfish and so needed. So as I was doing that, I was getting happier and healthier, and my whole life was starting to change, and I was becoming empowered and stronger. And yeah, and through all of that, it was really, I ended up leaving my husband after about 20 years. And I'm lucky to be alive right now. It was very, he tried to strangle me, and I somehow escaped, but I did not leave the house until about 6 months later, because I was probably reduced to a puddle at that point, and my confidence was really, really bad, in bad shape. And so that's where the yoga came in and led me to everything else. And my life is totally transformed since then. That was about 10 years ago.
Well, we'll get into that more later.
That was the beginning, and it was a lot, but
if you don't mind, we can dive deep a little bit, if you don't mind.
That either way, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned that there was this one specific practice that helped improves your mental state of mind. What is it? When it came to the yoga.
When it came to the yoga? I have to think about that one. I can't remember what I actually said. Was it about resting and taking care of your body? Is that what you meant?
I think so. I think, that was part of it. Was it the actual practice of it? Was it the actual combination between the practice and the meditation?
I think it was, well, exactly. And I know really yoga is what gets you ready for meditation, and it helps your body slow down and be present and open to so much more, right? That's where the meditation comes in, and so many other modalities, I guess, at that point.
Now, I know for myself, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak to my audience, who my audience is and whatever. But for myself, like, I have a hard time meditating. Like, I can only do it for like 8 minutes, 10 minutes at the very longest. I got like squirrely mind that goes on. And if I'm listening to like music while I'm doing it with a guided stuff, I usually fall asleep. What are some of the tricks that you use not to fall asleep while you're trying to, fix your head?
Funny, because I'm very much the same way, very much ADD or ADHD. I haven't been diagnosed, but definitely there's components of that. So I really struggle with that. And that's where maybe the yoga comes in, because it helps me relax, get the physical part of my body moving to get to a place where I can relax. In the yoga teacher training, we did a silent meditation retreat. So for 3 days, we sat in like a old kind of a church kind of a setting, and we just meditated all day. And that was extremely difficult and excruciating and painful. And everyone else around us made it seem like it was the easiest thing in the world. But there's so much pain in your body when you're sitting like that. But that was really a breakthrough point too. That it cleared up so much, and so much came up that really surprised me. And we had breaks every 2 hours, and we would be able to eat and drink coffee, thankfully, and sit outside in nature. And after even just the first 2 hours, I just wanted to just play outside. It was like my inner child came out and just wanted to play. So what am I doing wasting my time inside? I want to go play. So it was pretty cool.
Did you entertain that thought?
It's funny because I have to do more of that. I force myself. And I think that's where me, like with yoga, when I was a kid, I was a gymnast. And so just doing that and things like riding my bike just brings me back. to that happy place. But yeah, and that's how I feel some days. Like, I think I should listen to that more often. With some days I'm like, I think I just need to be outside, and I do. And I'll sit, and sometimes that's where some of my best writing comes, where I'm just sitting outside and getting bored, getting myself like off of social media and getting myself out of working and studying, and just being in nature is so powerful, right?
Yes, it is. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's dive a little bit into toxic relationships. Now, from what you just shared with us, as you had a very, very powerful thing happen to you. I know it's just the cream of the crop, and we're not going to dig too deep into it if you don't want to share.
That's okay. Yeah.
So, one, you understand now that you are not alone in something like that. There are, I could easily say everybody has been in one form or another, man or woman, have been in a toxic relationship. For yourself, what happened? What happened? We'll just start off with that.
What happened at that point? Is that what you're saying?
What happened what happened at that point where you realized you were in that toxic relationship?
Okay. I think it was probably, for me, it was 2 years before I actually left that I realized. I just kind of had one of those moments where most people end up, and I was sitting on the kitchen floor one day and just realized, what am I doing here? Like, this is ridiculous. And I knew how to change, because I knew I was making changes in myself. But and I realized just how far things had gone and how toxic things had been in this relationship for many years. So so I knew, okay, no one's going to help me, no one's going to do it for me, and it's time for me to make a change.
Was there like verbal abuse, obviously there was physical abuse. I mean, the guy was choking you, so that's
first it wasn't, though. At first it was a lot of verbal abuse and stuff that I really just brushed under the rug, and it's just so many like offhand comments and stuff that I just would ignore and realize that is so not normal, and realize that how far I'd kind of gone away from myself. And so I know I needed to change. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be in a happy, healthy relationship and making a change for a better environment for me and the kids. So
when was that moment when you said enough was enough? Obviously it was sitting on that kitchen floor, but was there any other moments where you said, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah, I think there were many moments, and I know if there was any conflicts with the kids, and that's where I noticed when my husband turned about 40 as well, when he was, I don't know if there was depression, bipolar, what it was, but something was definitely changing in him. And I could just see his aggressiveness getting worse, and with the kids, and it was not nice. And I knew I had to make a plan to get out. And finally, I finally opened up to my family and opened up to my sister. And this is stuff that she does like for a living, so it was difficult for her to do on a family basis. But she just told me to make a plan, and I did. So within making that plan and realize enough is enough, I can't sleep beside my bed with my car keys every night, waiting for the next bomb to drop. So she said make a plan. So I did. I rented an apartment and got out within a couple of weeks. So I guess that was it. But I think I had been to the bottom of the bottom, and I couldn't do that anymore.
Totally. Like I said, guys are in toxic relationship with women as well. So
exactly.
It's
Totally. Yeah.
it's not one or the other, and you're brave for doing what you did. I mean, that's a very brave move. Not a lot of people have the courage to do something like that. Um, have you healed this relationship?
I I have healed it a lot. And I know for me to fully kind of be free of this, I do need to forgive 100%. And I'm, yeah, I'm working on that too. Doing, I think more of the writing is really helping too, and helping to release things, and the poetry. And yeah, there's just a lot. Yeah, now my ex-husband is very sick, and he's dealing with a cancer diagnosis, and the prognosis is not great. So I'm very empathetic, but I just, I mean, there's no way we can communicate logically, but I'm doing everything I can to release any those hard feelings. So.
Well, it sucks that he's going through that, but it's great that you're actually trying actively to heal the relationship. Do you find that the Reiki practice and yoga practice, has that helped? Has that helped throughout that period of time?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I think just especially with being off of work right now and being home, and I'm just doing yoga every day again. And I know that's my kind of go-to whenever things are really hard. That's my go-to is the yoga. And that just helps me stay balanced, focused, and on the right path, I guess. And the Reiki too. And the more I can have an opportunity to, of course, for myself, but to help others too. And that's huge. Yeah. And I found like those weeks when we were at the hospital, I just knew that was my life purpose. Those weeks that I was there, I found it was just magical, and new opportunities would come to me those weeks. It was just lit up. So being able to give back for all the help I've received. So.
Is it possible to do Reiki on yourself?
Yeah, actually, the first 2 lessons, it's actually the first year where you're actually just doing it to yourself. Yes. So I think right now there's so many people that would benefit from learning and working on themselves. It's huge. And the thing is though, it's really something you have to learn in person. We can teach the theory online, but to do most of it, you have to be in person. So yeah, so many things to open up again soon.
Hopefully. Yeah. Really hope everything's going to start opening up soon. We're going to be switching gears a little bit. We're going to be talking more about brain food. There's so many different types of different descriptions of brain food when it comes to it. Again, like I went to New York City to learn about nutrition and everything. And I was actually introduced to like superfoods and stuff like that. And brain food did come up. So I would like to get your definition of the word brain food.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. I've also been reading a lot of these medical medium books on life-changing foods and superfoods. I've been following different podcasts, Darren Olian to be one. But yeah, just love all that stuff. Like whatever can make me stronger and healthier and happier. But for me, it was when I started going back to school, and at 52 to go back to school with, I'm in a classroom with 25-year-olds that are used to working and doing this every day. And it was a bit of a challenge at first. Even just to get rid of the distractions and all this, and everything's online. But I realized how important it is to fuel your brain. So I had a friend help me, and she put a little program together where she said, Heather, we're going to put this, like you treat this now as you're studying for exams, like you are kind of preparing for a marathon. So you eat well and feed your brain, feed your body, like you would feed your body. And so eating nuts and dates and I know the days of a test, I started eating a lot of chocolate, and it was about midterm, my first term. And I thought, I just know how to get in the right headspace will change everything. And I just, it's confidence too, I guess, with relearning and retesting. But yeah, so I fuel up on dates and apples and things like that, and have chocolate just before a test. And I found the first test I did that, my brain was on fire, and I turned it into a game. So I was doing practice tests online and just turning it into a video game, not just reading the notes, which was really boring for me. And so I did that, and I spent about 2 hours just diving into the hyper focus of the ADD land, and just doing practice tests and weighing it and getting the confidence and repeating everything until I felt really secure. So I went in the next day, and I felt like I was one of those kids that, like, a lot of people in our class were like trainers like yourself. So they have a lot of the knowledge of anatomy already. So going into an anatomy test, and I just blew right through it. I knew every question, and if not every question, but I didn't hesitate. My brain was just so sharp and so clear. And even just hydrating your brain too, drinking tons of water. But my girlfriend had put me on a program where I'm doing some breathing exercises in the morning, drinking lots of water and stretching, and meditating for a little bit. And stretching, and that just changed everything and just helped me stay really focused and clear. And it's changed everything. And now my average is like 85 last semester, and I was just squeezing by. We need 70 to pass, and I really didn't think I was going to make it. I never had the best grades in school, but yeah, this is changing things. So
I can go off on a different avenue right now, but I'm going to
really?
stick with the whole education system and everything. But I'm going to stay right on focus with the brain food, because like I have a big problem with the education system that we have today.
Yeah, it needs a rehaul. Yeah.
Big time rehaul. What are some of the benefits that you have seen by switching some of the foods that you would intake before, going to a test or studying, keeping you focused? Because a lot of what we put in here affects this.
Definitely. And it's, as much as I found when I was learning Reiki and learning how to nourish the body rather than just, of course, eat for pleasure, but really think about how this is going to affect the clarity in your brain and your body. So just be more mindful of what I put, and kind of intuitively eating too, just seeing what my body is naturally drawn to. But yeah, how much just eating fresher, making sure I have a ton of protein as well. And I'm actually eating more than I used to, but I'm eating more fruit in the morning and more vegetables with my lunch. Eating 3 meals a day, and even through COVID, I gained some weight, but I was able to lose about 20 pounds just by eating more and the right foods, just listening to what my body needed. Yeah, and I found, I need to stay away. For me, it's gluten too, and it just messes with my stomach and my brain. And it's all, that's all connected. So yeah. Keeping things as fresh as possible too, just changes the vibration of everything as well.
Do you believe that food has a vibration and it affects us physically?
And then that's where the mushroom coffee comes too. It helps me relax, but you're feeding the brain too, mushrooms and honey, everything. Yeah, whatever I can get my hands on.
I strongly believe that, because I prove it to people.
Really?
Yeah, I get them to grab a fruit, put it on their chest, then I do a muscle test. Then I grab like a chocolate bar or a candy bar, put it on their chest, and then do another muscle test. One is strong, one is weak. I'll let everybody figure out which one is strong and which one is weak.
Huge. It's huge. I've been doing that for years, just, holding up to me and asking my body if this is good for me. And I'll get a yes, the sway test, either head forward or backwards. Yeah, it's huge. And sometimes I do just need some pasta or something regular too. Um, and yeah, so yeah, but just listening to the body and incorporating as much like blueberries and whatever fresh fruits I realize are so powerful. And it doesn't even have to be the best quality. I can't always get organic, and it depends what's available here. But yeah, but it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. One of these brain foods that I've actually come in contact with, and it's one of my favorite things, is coffee. Do you consider coffee as brain food?
I do, totally. I do know it like, it stimulates the brain, and drinking mushroom coffee, the mushrooms even light up different parts of your brain that were not used before. It opens up new pathways, and even just the natural sugars and fruits and vegetables do the same thing, and it's mind-blowing. Definitely, yeah. So I've experimented with different mushrooms as well, chaga and reishi and cordyceps, help your body balance out. It's just, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So. You haven't gone crazy with some of the other mushrooms?
No, I haven't really dabbled any farther that way. I do know, I have friends that have. I have not quite there yet, but yeah.
Well, just for the record, I haven't either, and I don't ever plan on doing it. I do have some friends that do microdosing with those kinds of mushrooms. Good on them. It's just not for me.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. I don't think I need it. And I'm more about being true, like more authentic, and just that's not me. So
yeah,
but it works for a lot of people, and that's okay.
Yeah. All the power to them, right?
That's right.
What's the importance of coffee?
It stimulates your nervous system, stimulates your brain, but it does stimulate digestion as well. I don't know. For me, though, mixing the mushrooms, say reishi, with the coffee. So today I just had a strong regular coffee, but I mixed in some reishi espresso with it, and I get it. It helps balance out the coffee, so I'm not jittery, and I can have, because it's probably my third cup today, so it's quite a bit. But I can have the reishi coffee, and I can still go to sleep later at night. It doesn't keep me up all night. I've been trying to cut back, actually, to not drinking anymore, like usually after 1:00 or afternoon. I usually pull back, unless of course I'm studying, but I don't know. It helps me study. It helps to turn my brain on and be more focused. So,
do you think it could become more of an addictive substance as well?
Well, yeah, it can be. Yeah. And that's where I try to stay with the reishi coffee, because it's more balanced. It's not as addictive. It's not, I don't know if it's not addictive, but it's I think it's healthier.
And this reishi, well, the reason why I'm asking is because, like, my background is Greek, and we're known for being heavy coffee drinkers. And I've noticed in myself, like, I could drink like 3 regular coffees in a day, maybe sometimes 4 or 5. And when I realize I hit that 4 or 5, it's like, okay, I need to stop. And when I stop, it's bad.
Okay, Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's where the
So
migraine comes in and everything. How would you?
yeah, see, I don't get migraines, I don't get headaches. But I do mainly drink the reishi coffee too. And when I first started drinking it, I would drink just the powder reishi. And I started drinking the spore coffee. And that is really powerful. Um, I noticed my skin was better. I found like my complexion was better. It was healthier. It wasn't as pale. I remember going to see my girlfriend, like she was selling me the coffee, at her drugstore. And I'd walk in and she goes, I don't know what you're doing, but you are like glowing. Your skin is just radiant. And yeah, it helps so many things. Um, Definitely. And I mean, that alone was testament to the reishi for sure. Um, yeah. So I also love coffee. So that's just one of those things I'm going to keep doing. But I do drink more of the reishi to balance it a little bit.
Awesome. And this
So
reishi coffee is Organo Coffee. Am I correct?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what is Organo Coffee?
Um, it's coffee made. It has reishi that comes from China, and it's grown on like traditionally on logs, um, ground down into a powder, and they also use that in most of their products as well as the actual spores, and which are like probably I don't know exactly the science, but it's probably 100 times more powerful than just the regular mushroom powder. And for me, I can drink a black coffee with the powder and it's okay and it helps digestion, definitely. But the spores just that's when my skin was glowing and like it's doing something to my insides and clearing out my digestive tract, really, mainly. And a lot of people will complain or say, yeah, I have to go to the bathroom after drinking this coffee. Thinking, well, your body probably needed that. Your body needed to let go of some things. My mom was just drinking the black coffee. And probably within about a month or two, she was able to go off her high blood pressure medication. She's 80. And just the coffee alone. She does a bit of yoga, but she's a powerhouse. But yeah, she can. I was noticing difference with her, so that was huge. She's my role model. So
That's amazing.
anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's funny because you get so inspired. It's really changing people's lives. Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
That's really great.
And it's just it doesn't have the acid that's what it is. It's the acidity in the regular coffee that you don't find in the reishi coffee.
So it's less acidic than regular coffee. That's what the difference is between other coffees like Nespresso, stuff like that.
And I do have an espresso machine. I love really good coffee. My sister had one, and I think I got one last year too. As a little treat, a little COVID treat. But yeah, it's yeah. So I can drink that, especially when my digestion's on point. If the IBS flares up and I'm bloated, I definitely have to stay away from it and just stick to the reishi for a while. But I forgot where we're going with that. But yeah, so it's the cordyceps in the reishi that help balance out. So it kind of brings your body to a point of homeostasis where your body is in balance.
Cordyceps. I've actually done a study on cordyceps and the importance of cordyceps when it comes to steroids, because a lot of steroids use cordyceps at its rawest form, and they just manipulate the cordyceps to increase its potency. So it's more of a repair hormone, because that's what steroids are actually used for. So do you find that when you're using this kind of coffee, you're having more energy and you can quicker get into a workout routine?
Totally. It gives me energy and focus primarily. But yeah, when I first started drinking, say like the reishi, the spores, I started running again, and like I started cycling again, and I was running marathons like 10 years ago, but I hadn't done anything that really strenuous in a long time. But yeah, so now that I'm getting back into the yoga, drinking the coffee regularly and cleaning up everything in the diet as well. Yeah, I'm getting back to that. And I just came back from a bike ride this morning, did a yoga practice, and my body's getting a lot stronger again. So yeah, definitely works. And people look at me and I don't know, I'm 52, I'll be 53 this year. My kids are in their 20s, and people in class think I'm like 40. You know what I mean? I think definitely the yoga and the reishi have really helped with aging for sure.
Yeah, I get that too. I don't drink the Organo coffee, but it's what happens when you start to really start to take care of yourself first. Do you find that it's critical for somebody to focus? I think we covered this a little bit, but I want to dive in a little bit more. Do you think it's important that, people start focusing on themselves and what they need?
Yes. And I think I've struggled with this in the past, where I was always giving and not, I mean, sure, I treat myself and do things for myself. But the importance of filling your cup first, and that's not guilt, and you shouldn't be guilty. And I think so many of us, especially parents, are thinking, we were kind of raised with this mindset of giving everything, but if you don't fill your own cup, you've got nothing left to give. But just working on yourself, and you become the best version of yourself. And I found I'm not even telling my kids what to do, but just watching me will be the difference. So I started running probably in my mid 40s, and ran the first marathon, and with a friend of mine, and then a year later, well, actually it was 3 years later, my daughter started running between then, and she actually ran with me like 3 years later. And I realized, like, it's what I do for my body that's inspiring my kids too. Just like, say, leaving that marriage, right, was something that I'm showing her, you don't have to put up with anything, right, and you can change your life. So yeah, so I'm doing a lot of that lately. So yeah, I also left my job 2 years ago, just before COVID hit. And I was working at a factory for about 20 years, and yeah, left and decided just to start a whole new life. So it can be done.
There are some people out there that would say that is selfish. I don't believe that. I personally do not believe. I believe that people should be following their dreams, whatever those dreams should be. But what would you say to somebody stuck in that mindset?
And it's funny because, even you say your family, and people put family first. And I think for a long time I did put family first, and not that that's wrong at all, but not neglecting yourself along the way, and how important it is to take care of yourself as well as your family. Yeah, and you're giving your family a better version of you when you're taking care of yourself. So yeah, definitely not selfish in my book.
So lead by example.
Exactly. Not that it's always easy to do, but yeah, definitely.
I try not to make this a political show, and I really try and keep my mouth shut when it comes to politics. But I think most politicians today should be leading by example, and I think they're failing at that in spades.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If anyone is interested in the Organo coffee, like me myself, I love my coffee. How could somebody get this coffee?
I guess you could get on the website, or you could find my link on Instagram, and I can hook you up. I can send you a link and send you some samples. That's how it all gets started. just sending out samples. And yeah, I've met a lot of interesting people along the way, a lot of doctors, chiropractors, medical professionals that are using this stuff and really helping a lot of people. So yeah.
Cool. I will share all your links with the show notes so everybody has easy access to you and your products and everything. So that's great. Heather, thank you so much for coming on the show. I was actually really ecstatic to bring on a Reiki practitioner because I never had a Reiki practitioner come on the show. So you're the first. And just talking to you now for the past hour, just learning about your story and how, you could come out of I wouldn't say tragic, but eye-opening experience and make it into such a positive thing where you can actually help other people heal themselves through touch, through nutrition, through yoga practices. I think that's great. And I think it's very courageous of you to do what you did. And I applaud you. And I think a lot of people could benefit from your story. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing it with us.
Thank you very much. That's very nice to say. Thank you.
Going through hard times is just a test. What you need to know is that when you get out of whatever you're going through, you will be stronger than ever before, and you don't need to go through it alone. Always know that you are not alone. Stay tuned for more real people with amazing stories that are just like yours. Until then, to everyone out there listening, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or a good night wherever you may be in this crazy world.